Welcome to another deep dive episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast. Very excited today because we have with us once again journalist and film critic and friend of the show, Christian Toto. Thank you for being with us to talk all things Hollywood gossip. How are you?
I am great. My pleasure. I love being here.
Good. Well, we have got to talk about the crazy conspiracy theory that's happening right now. And it's actually my husband that brought it up to me first just the other day. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And now I'm like, oh my God. So he was telling me the other day that there are wild conspiracy theories that Anne Heche, because she was in the middle of filming a movie about sex trafficking, that there are some wild theories out there that she was not necessarily in an accident of her own making, but like there's some sinister plot to like take her out. And now that there are videos, two different angles that we'll look at together. The first, which shows her car just speeding past this residential neighborhood, but the second, which shows her from drone footage in a body bag, okay, on a stretcher, being wheeled towards an ambulance, and her busting it open like the character in Seven coming back to life. You remember the sloth character?
You remember it was sloth. We had to talk about, like, we were like the sloth character, like somebody like just jumping up out of bed, like sitting up out of bed. We're like, that's the sloth character on Seven. That movie completely freaked me out.
And to be fair, his full name was Fred Sloth, so let's not call him just Sloth. It's Fred.
Oh my God.
So cute. But Chris, if you've not seen this video, right? So
no,
you're gonna oh my God. It is going to haunt your dreams.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry in advance, Christian. Yeah.
Right. So first we're gonna show the one of her, of the car and like how fast it was going through this residential area. Right. Here that is right now. So this is like from somebody's driveway cam, right?
Which is horrific. This is so horrific. God. Like,
because she is hauling.
Oh my God.
The ass.
I mean, right.
Yeah, and then you can hear the crash.
Yeah. Oh right my there. God. Yeah.
So that's the first video.
So bad. So bad.
So people can get a grasp of like how fast she was actually going.
Yeah.
But then this is the one that just brace yourself. And again, this is from drone footage, right? Or a helicopter or something, because you can hear the narration. Watch.
Ambulance. That's some sort of sign, but yes. So basically the activity that we were looking for, that anxious or that quick moving, that was going on the other side of the vehicle.
And she's freaking sitting up.
He's completely alive.
What the hell?
Oh my God. I can't. Seriously, I'm going to have nightmares. About that video. It's just like, it's not even right. Like,
and that was the first take. She had multiple takes, but that was the best one.
I mean, what do you make of that?
I mean, it's Christian's like, I don't know. I was not prepared for you broads today. Okay. I was not prepared for this.
I mean, she was a celebrity. She was an actress. She wanted to take a bow. My gosh, that is unbelievable.
She was like,
and it was like a triumphant rising.
Oh yeah, and
it was
because she was like in a body bag, and then she's like, not dead, and then she's like the sloth character, and she comes alive. You can see the back of her is like burned right to a crisp.
Oh my God!
And the people that are narrating are also like, what the hell?
Right?
Like, they're freaking out.
That was so Monty Python, you guys. So Monty Python.
I think we should basically recall all the drones. I don't want to see this anymore.
I don't. It's crazy. So there's so much craziness. So then, of course, all the conspiracy theories are happening, right? But I mean, she sat up. She sat up, you guys.
I don't know how you don't conspiracize that. Like that is, I mean, I don't know how to process it, except that clearly they had wrapped her up prematurely. You know what I mean? So I don't think that there's necessarily a conspiracy around her being murdered, because she was obviously out of her mind and going way too fast.
Right.
But the fact that they like sealed her up and then she busted out of that the way that she did,
maybe it was just like,
I don't have an explanation.
Okay, so I read a lot of news. This is the first time I'm learning about that aspect of it. That should be the front page of everything, the top of a
Right.
news site. Anne Heche burst out of her body bag.
Right.
How am I
Yeah.
learning about this from a drone video? It just seems
Right.
crazy.
And from the
This is
chicks,
the
no
thing.
less. I know, from two chicks. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
It
trust
is-
you all more than the mainstream
Right.
media, so that's okay.
That's very sweet, but it is kind of weird. It could have been just like last hurrah from like her body. It
Yeah.
could be an actual like physiological thing, Mock. I mean,
Like
from a
7.
like
Because that's what that was like, right? That person
She-
should have been so dead.
listen,
But then
show-
all of a sudden, they just shot up out of
listen,
bed.
Mock. Show me on the doll where 7 hurt you. Okay, you are.
Oh my
so
God, there's so many
affected.
places.
I know,
Okay,
so
right?
many
Was
places.
there more footage
It's
on that,
just-
or did it just the clip end there though? Like what
That's
happened after
the
she came
only
out?
thing
That's
I've
it.
seen.
That's
is
it.
that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It could just be a physiological response. Like
Yeah.
that could be like the last thing that her body did.
Yeah,
what I
we
mean?
need the
Has some-
director's cut. The full,
Right.
you know.
We do, Christian. We do need the director's cut.
Well,
So
one thing I
true.
did want to ask you about, like in all seriousness, with respect to Anne Heche, because people have their thoughts about her irresponsibility, obviously,
Right.
in that moment, and all of that stuff. But man, I had read after they pulled the plug on her, and thankfully they were looking at organ donation and trying to save as many lives as they could out of that whole ordeal. But I started to read just about her background and what a
Yeah.
completely troubled mess she was from basically birth. I mean, her story is one of the most tragic I've ever read, and there's one remaining sibling out of 5
Really?
that her mom has survived her mom has survived every kid but one.
Oh my goodness! I did
There's
not know
one
that.
remaining kid. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And then
And
her
is
husband is gay, was gay and had all kinds of affairs. And I mean, it was just and then he abused Anne Heche as a baby, sexually abused her, all kinds of stuff.
Oh
Well, I
my
remember she was
goodness.
on the promotional circuit a few months ago, and she talked to Adam Carolla about how when she came out and she was dating Ellen DeGeneres, Hollywood, which is super woke and super we accept everyone, we're very tolerant, said, shh, no, you don't do that. You stay quiet with this relationship. This was the 90s. And that was
Wow.
not accepted back then, which is not so long ago. So that was an interesting element. I mean, here she was just trying to have a relationship, and she couldn't even do that.
Well, and it's interesting how everybody embraced Ellen, but then they didn't embrace her. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
Yeah.
Like that had to be really hard for her too. So
Yeah, that's a great
I mean, I'm
point.
not. Yeah, it's crazy. Wow, I didn't know that, Mock. It's
Oh
nuts.
yeah, I mean, she just had a wreck of a life. I mean, how
Mhm.
she wasn't crazier than she actually was. is a
Right.
miracle.
You know who?
'Cause-
You know who spoke? You know who spoke really highly of her is Alec Baldwin.
Is that right? Oh, that's right. Because he
Right.
did that whole video about
Right.
how
It was really about
everybody's
him.
praying for her.
Really about his. It was really like it was basically like a biography of his own works and his own life, and then at the end he threw in a little bit of. And Anne Heche was really great. She was really great, you guys. That's basically how he handled that.
He doesn't
You know?
always like to draw attention to himself, though. So this was kind of rare.
No.
He never ever does
It was
that.
out of character completely.
No.
Well, now he's showing up on Chris Cuomo's podcast, which is a thing that we unfortunately have in our lives now.
Wait,
so-
Andrew or Chris? Chris Cuomo's. Chris
Chris
podcast, right?
Cuomo's, yeah.
Okay.
Is that what I
I have
said?
to-
Did I say Andrew?
I don't know. I get them confused. I get them both. Chris. It's
Well,
Chris.
Chris Cuomo, yeah, he's got a new
Mhm.
podcast. And so Alec Baldwin was a guest, I think either yesterday or the day before. And so now that is out because now there was a report that came out, I guess, that said Alec Baldwin is not off the hook criminally, potentially, for this whole shooting that took place on the set of Rust. And so Alec was talking to Chris Cuomo about that and basically said he's not worried. He knows he's going to be just fine. He insists to this day that he did not pull the trigger, which I don't even know how that works. But what are you hearing the latest is on that whole story?
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. And by the way, I think Alec Baldwin reached out to CNN Plus, heard that they were gone. I said, "What else you got?" And they said, "Give me Cuomo's podcast." This is a Hollywood expert. This guy's been in the industry for 30 years. He's going on that podcast.
Oh my gosh. Right.
We need some career crisis for Baldwin just from that alone.
Yeah, totally.
When your first instinct is to go into a podcast and to restate the case again and again and again, it seems a little odd. You should lay low, let the justice take its course, and stop with the PR machine. Please, come on, Alec. You can give us a break.
Yeah, agreed.
And I don't even know how he makes that argument, right? Like, how do you say you didn't pull the trigger? I'm not a gun expert, but it feels like when someone gets shot with a bullet, that a trigger was likely pulled.
Yeah. Right. And when you're holding it, then you're the one who is holding it. I don't know how you say you weren't doing that. Yeah, I don't understand that whole defense. Yeah.
I spoke to an armor a few months ago, right after this whole incident happened. And he said he got calls from his ex-colleagues, ex-producers, and they all said to him, thank you for being a pain in the neck, because you being a pain in the neck made sure that nothing happened on our set. This was a debacle. So, the fact that the armor was not doing their job, the fact there were live rounds on the set is insane. And I think we should never forget that.
Yeah, I think she was pretty young and inexperienced from what I've heard. I don't know. Is that I would imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case.
Like, is there a gun? There are bullets here? Oh
right.
my God.
Yeah.
That could hurt someone.
Yeah, I heard there was like some nepotism there. Yeah, she was just like not doing a very good job, obviously, with that.
Yeah, and he was a co-producer on the movie, so he has a hand in that part of it for sure.
Right,
absolutely. Yeah,
right. I mean, there has to be some culpability there. It's not like he should just get off the hook for this. Yeah. I mean, a woman's life ended because of that, and so and he was the one behind the gun. He was the one behind the trigger. So it just seems like there are a lot of double standards here, and it just is outrageous that he just gets to walk, and nothing happens to him. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic. I think he'll walk. I think
really?
The scales of justice have all go. There's two tiers right now. I don't think
totally.
he's on the tier that actually functions. So we'll see.
God, it's just so outrageous. It really is. Yeah, in every way.
All right. So the other couple, couple stories to get into. The first is about a week old, I guess. And that is, of course, that Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson Splitsville. Did you see this coming? Or like me, were you convinced that this love affair was one for the ages and it would last forever?
Well, Cosmo's always telling us that women love a sense of humor. And that's obviously what happened because they're no longer together. So, I mean, did he get any more tattoos? I mean, I'm more curious about the tattoos. That's far more permanent than actually this relationship.
Mock was really concerned about the tattoo. She's like, "What is he going to do?" And I'm like, "Listen, he could probably turn it into something else,
Well, like one is just like like a thing of text right here that says, "My girl is a lawyer." It literally is just, And then he got tattoos of her kids. Now, I don't know if it was their names or like,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What an idiot.
That's more embarrassing than Mike Tyson's face tattoo.
Right.
Is he dying? He says he's dying.
He's a troubled soul. I don't know. I just don't go anywhere near him because he might have some fists kind of flying for no apparent reason.
What did he say he's dying of? What is he dying of?
Well, that was the weird thing is that the headline was something like he said that his expiration date is coming really soon. And then later he also said that he'd been dealing with the sciatica flare up. And I'm like, dude, that's not something you die from.
Yeah, my mom's got that and she's 80.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny that your mom has sciatica. That's a terrible thing.
She's fine.
I mean, God bless her. That's not. But I'm just like, seriously, he thinks he's gonna die. Maybe there's something else, and he's just like, peripherally talking about the sciatica. We're talking about Mike Tyson. We're talking about Mike Tyson right now.
Iron Mike Tyson.
Right.
Maybe he drank some expired milk. He got confused. I don't know. It's
right.
Who says their expiration date is coming soon? Who speaks like that?
Right.
But he did get hit in the head a lot.
There was a lot of lisping going on at the same time.
And when he says expiration, it's expiration date. That's what he says.
Expiration date.
Expiration.
If you have a speech impediment, you kind of steer away from those words. He went right in.
Right. He did. He's brave. He's stunning and brave, Christian. Stunning and brave.
But going back to Kim and Pete, because there was also some hullabaloo around that with Kanye's reaction, right? So Kanye reacted immediately by putting up a picture on Instagram of Pete Davidson, basically saying Skeet, as he calls him, is dead. And then Kim got all mad, right? And she's like, stop this. And he's in therapy and you're being cruel. So have you heard anything about like how that co-parenting relationship is working out, or anything about how that's going with Kanye?
I'm sure it's very healthy, very normal.
Right.
And I'm sure it's working very well.
And the
I mean,
kids.
is this high school or are these grown adults? Isn't Kim in her 40s now? My God.
I don't think they tell anybody their ages once they get to a certain point as Kardashians. I don't think they're allowed to, right? Nobody's allowed to say
removed
what
their
age
license.
Right. Everything is just airbrushed out. Everything is airbrushed. They're not allowed to do that. Right. It's like, I mean, it's at least they didn't like unconsciously. What is it that Gwyneth did? They didn't
unconsciously uncouple.
Right. At least they didn't do that, because I want to punch those people in the face. You got a divorce because you don't like each other. It's like, why can't I want like a good old fashioned, just awful divorce. That's what I want in Hollywood. Like, nobody does that anymore. Have we had one of those lately? Remember when people used to do that in the 80s and 90s? Like, they would have a really awful divorce. Like, the last one we had that was really awesome was Ivana and Donald. Remember?
Yeah.
That was
Kim
so
Basinger
good.
and Alec Baldwin, I think they kind of hated each other too.
They did.
Ooh,
it was
that's
awesome.
right.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was juicy. It was great. I mean, we
need a
lived for
sequel.
that. Right.
That's true. That was a good divorce. And
It
like,
was good.
speaking of people that are not getting divorced, I just saw an article the other day of Warren Beatty and Annette Bening.
Oh.
They were like leaving a New York City restaurant. He's
Oh my God.
85.
Wow.
And they just celebrated 30 years of marriage. And I was
Wow.
like, wow. I didn't remember that they were together that
me neither.
long.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He dated literally every woman in Hollywood. She was the last one standing. And that's it. That's the secret.
The last
Beautiful.
one standing without diseases. And he was like, she'll do. She'll do. It'll work.
I mean,
Fine.
that's a long,
Right.
that's a long
Right.
time in Hollywood. Like,
It
that's like
is.
700 Hollywood years or something like that.
It's an eternity. It's amazing. So speaking of which, so do we think that Ben and J-Lo, I need to know what the over-under is on that for you, Christian. Like, what do you think? What do you think?
When celebrities have these overt displays of public affection, it's never a good sign. So they're going to have a second wedding soon, right? Isn't that what they're planning?
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
it
was
to
supposed to
honor
be
their
low-key.
18th day. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. It's supposed
Whenever
to be
they're
low-key.
kind of pushing too far, oh, I love her so much. Oh, he's the greatest. It's doomsday. So,
Right.
you factor that in 2 years tops.
You think
2 years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be too embarrassing to quit earlier than that.
Right.
See, I feel like 2 years is embarrassing even. Like, I was thinking, what did I say? Did I say 6 when we were talking about this before?
I think you said 6 or 7, and I think I'm pretty sure that I said 3. Did I say 3? Something like that. It was pretty. Yeah, it was. I mean, I was close to what Christian said. It was like a 2 or 3. I didn't think it was going to last very long because I don't think they like to be alone. But I just think that they're addicted to being in the la early on phase.
Yeah.
Those people are addicted to that. Yeah.
She seems to really love herself. When you see her in a movie,
Yes.
every shot is glowing and she's in this perfect pose.
Right.
And it's kind of insufferable. But I feel a personal connection to the couple because years ago on their first dating round, I dressed up like Benner for Halloween. So I had like half a dress on, half a wig. And,
Oh my God.
I will be crushed if they don't last. But I think
Yes. And did you have the look down? Because you have to do the J-Lo look. Like, there's a particular, how does she?
Yeah. She just looks mean. Like, she looks like slanty-eyed and mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of like she smelled something bad, but also like she's confused. Like, she's confused at the same time. Like, something smells bad, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
In my defense, I was drinking a lot that night, so I don't think I really pulled off I wasn't a method performance. But
You didn't get it all down. Next time, there's always this Halloween, Christian.
My wife was pissed at me, like, I got to sew half a dress. Honey.
Come on, exactly. This is why you guys are going to make it longer than Annette Bening and Warren Beatty. This is why.
And by the way,
right.
I would not be surprised in 2 years you'll hear Beatty 87 with new gal pal. I'm just.
Better not.
I don't rule it out.
He'll be dating J-Lo.
Oh my God.
She'll move on with him.
But you're not wrong, because remember, one of the couples that broke up that devastated me beyond, I mean, I was in a state of despair, and Amy Jo will remember this because we were in radio at the time. And that is when Captain and Tennille split after like being married for 4 eternities. And I was like, you guys are 1,000 years old. Why? Just stick
She was
it
devastated.
out. You know
Devastated, I mean? Christian. She was so devastated. And I agree. I mean, like, why would you get divorced after that much time? That's just dumb.
Love will keep us together. It's a blatant lie.
Right. We were all just broken over that. It won't keep you together.
It's like a class action suit.
I know.
Right? I mean, I feel personally wounded by the end of that relationship.
Do you know how many muskrats I had to hear on the air after they broke up? It was like all these stupid. I'm like, is that even a real animal? Is that? I don't even know. Is it?
Of course it's real. You can hear the muskrats in that song.
Like making love. She's playing on the air nonstop for like 3 days.
Did the muskrats get a royalty check if that song plays again and again?
They should.
I think they got gypped. I think they
Susie and Sam, man. Susie and Sam.
So ridiculous. It was so okay. All right. Shifting gears. Before last thing we want to talk to you about was before we got on the air today, we were lamenting about how Saturday Night Live, I heard this is going to be their last season. Okay. I don't know where I heard that. I read it. I heard it somewhere. I'm constantly sifting through news, but I heard that Lorne Michaels is going to retire this year. He's been talking about that. Yeah.
We can only hope, first of all.
Right.
God bless him. He did a great show. It's way past his prime. I think Kenan Thompson, who's been on the show for maybe 50 years now, he mentioned that, like, maybe it's time. Lorne is mid to late 70s, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So it makes sense on that level. And he did step away from the show a while and come back. But the show is terrible. The show is just completely just off its moors. It doesn't do what it once did. And it's really hard to be counterculture for 40, 50 years. I get that. But they don't even try. There's no elbow grease involved. It is ridiculous. And the fact that each week they ignore Kamala Harris, they ignore AOC, they ignore Joe Biden, and then they poke fun at like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like a minor figure, while the commander in chief is shaking hands with invisible people. It just boggles the mind. And I imagine if you're on that show, a little part of your soul is dead, right? I mean, you can't really go through the motions like that without feeling. I studied with the Groundlings. I'm in the same stage as Eddie Murphy, and now I'm telling a Trump joke for the 15th time. It's
right.
It's
you're
sad.
You're so amen to that. I can't imagine. Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope that they this is it and they wrap it up too, because you look back at like the Martin Shorts and the Eddie Murphys and the Steve Martins and the Dan Aykroyds and John Belushi and all the Gilda Radner, all those people that we grew up with, right? I mean, like the greats who actually started on that show, and then you think, God, the show just sucks now. It's like you want it to end because it's just so sad.
Put it out of its misery.
Yeah, because it's so sad now what they've done to it. Because I do have some good memories, like in the 70s and 80s, and even some in the 90s. With like Chris Farley and stuff like that, where I loved him. Yeah.
And that show used to really be the launching pad for all these great talents. All the people you just mentioned went on to these huge movie careers. Now we got Pete Davidson, and all we care about is who he's dating. It's just no one cares anymore. There's no characters we all rally around. It's not funny. And the Weekend Update is just mean. It's just nasty.
It is. It really is. I think the last time that it was good even was maybe when Tina Fey was on it. And she even poked fun at people that I, would probably say were people that I liked, but I still thought it was kind of funny,
Yeah.
But you're right. They're just mean now. They're just so mean. And I think that's such a commentary on our society, is that our society is so divided and people are just mean now, and people can't be funny anymore. They just can't be funny. And I just miss that. I miss when people were just freaking funny,
I think Stephen Colbert, in his kind of quiet moments, I think he weeps into his pillow. Is this what I've become? Then he cashes his check and he goes back on stage. He's fine.
Yeah.
But he's got, even he would think, I'm just a parrot. I'm just a parrot for the Biden administration. He's viewed as a Karine Jean-Pierre who is, can she rifle through her notes any more aggressively?
Oh my God.
How that isn't a comic staple across the landscape is ridiculous.
Right.
but he had her on the show, and they're just making kissy faces, and he's saying, "I love you, Joe Biden." I felt sad. I mean, it's gone from it's not funny to be kind of being tragic. It's like a tragedy, you know?
Yeah,
Like it's Shakespearean.
Right. It's a great word to describe it. It is tragic. It really is. And like my kid, you know, our kids will never know what they just won't experience the kind of comedy that we experienced growing up because it was funny. You know, we had fun.
I show my kids the YouTube clips of Saturday Night Live, and we all laugh together. It's funny.
Right. Yeah. Show them Blazing Saddles one day.
Yeah.
Not yet. They're 13 and 11, so we're not quite there yet. So.
Soon.
Not terribly far off.
No.
What's coming up for you now, Christian? What are you working on? Are you looking forward, or is there a reason to look forward to like the next Top Gun explosive big super hit like that? Are we going to see more of that kind of thing now that it was so successful?
I hope so. I really hope that Hollywood learns the lesson of why that was good. The movie was so aggressively apolitical. It was kind of political. And I don't know if they're going to kind of understand that, get that, and move on. We'll see. On a personal note, I just shot a video for PragerU about why Hollywood is so liberal. And that comes out, I think, in October. So I'm kind of excited on a personal level for that. Yeah.
Love that.
And then we're going to be in Oscar movie season soon. And I can't even think of one movie I'm really dying to see. So that's not a good sign. But there'll be something, I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, super excited for that.
So great to have you help us wrap up all the celebrity hullabaloo. And so we'll do it again very, very soon. And we appreciate you being with us once again.
Thank you for giving me that nightmare about Anne Heche, too. I really appreciate that.
Sorry.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Christian.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.